Hi there, and welcome to today's episode of Next Wave TV. I'm your host, Tony Reale. On our last episode, I talked about how I got into video production, how I went from being a graphic designer to discovering that I really enjoyed working with video and film. But I really didn't talk too much about how I got jobs besides my main dream job that I talked about. But I didn't really talk about too much how I just started off and some of the little things that I did that got me to this point. And one of our viewers, Dave from Sonic Orb Studios, sent in an email and he wrote, "Dear Tony, I am a TV production major that found out early on I wanted to get involved with video production. These days I do instructional videos on YouTube, but I can't seem to find any jobs to get started with. I don't have much gear. I have a Sony Mini DV camera and some of my dad's old photography lighting equipment, which meets my needs. However, I'm finding that most jobs out there require high-end gear that I don't have the money for yet. I was wondering if you had any tips to help me get started." Well, Dave and everybody else, I do have some tips that I'd like to give you. I'd like to pass on and tell you how I picked up on just some small jobs that eventually got me known and got me experience to get my main dream job now. Now, if you're like me, you're probably starting off just discovering that you like video production. You probably don't have much gear, like Dave mentioned, and you're looking to see what you can do with your gear. Now, the exciting thing is you don't need high-end gear to get involved in video production, but what you do need is you need skill and you need the ability to make your low-end gear look close to as good as high-end gear. Now, is that possible? Yeah. Is it possible without spending a lot of money? Yeah. The fact is there's a few main things that you need in order to do anything that's good quality. You need a camera that produces a decent image. The Canon HB20 produces great image, and it's a very low cost. They're coming down in price. You can pick them up for between $500 and $600. So you need a good camera. You don't have to necessarily get that one. You just need a camera that does good image quality. Second of all, you need a good microphone. Poor quality sound will make a video look amateur right away. So you need a good microphone. And lastly, lighting is very important. Poor lighting can make a video look amateurish also. Right now I'm doing standard 3-point lighting technique, which gives me my hair light, my key light, and then I have ambient light doing the fill right now. And that makes my video look better. Now, you don't have to run out and spend $1,000, $2,000 on RE lights or really high-end lighting. You can go with just some basic umbrella lights that are on eBay. I talked about those in episode 2, where there's just some basic ones. If you want a little more controlled lighting, I'd recommend getting a softbox. And I actually have a listing on my blog of how I came up with a lighting kit that I'm using right now. And I labeled it the $500 lighting kit for $122 because it produces the same lighting quality that you would see with some of the $500 kits you'd buy on eBay or other places, but I pieced it together for about $122. So check out that link. My blog is nextwaveg.blogspot.com, and you can see how you can build one of those yourself. All right, now once you get that equipment, the next step that you're going to need to do is make quality video with that. And the key to making good quality video is learning techniques, learning proper lighting techniques, proper camera techniques. Does that mean that you need to go to school or spend thousands of dollars and years of your life to do that? Not necessarily. You can learn camera techniques online, watching videos like mine. There's tons of videos on YouTube, tons of forums out there that help people learn how to do proper camera techniques and how to use your camera. That's really where I learned the majority of my stuff. I also studied film. I would go and I would watch a movie and I would see what makes that look good, and I would try to replicate that. So the next step is to get your name out there, get known. How do you do that? Well, a great way to get started is just making YouTube videos. That's really how I got started. I just made a few. And then I started going around talking to my friends. I introduced myself as, worked at a bank, and I'm also an independent filmmaker, and that got people's attention. Hey, well, what do you do? How do you do that? And after a little while, word would spread around. My first main production job was for Q90 FM. It's a radio station here in Green Bay, and they were doing a training DVD series, and they wanted somebody just to come in and videotape the speakers that they had there. Now the thing was, I took my two cameras, I had two HV20 cameras, and I just put those at two separate locations and I shot it. I had one camera ISO'd out as a wide shot, that would be my B camera, and then my A camera I would just go back and forth between the speakers, zoom in, pan out, do lots of different moves that would look like I had a major multicam shoot when it was just two cameras. Then when I got back to editing, in between each time that I would pan the camera across, I would just go to my ISO'd camera and I'd drop that in, and that way it looked like I was just popping back and forth between multiple cameras when it was just two cameras. I also did a lot of motion graphic design for that. I did a ton of work. I put in about 40 hours, and granted, that was for the amount that I was paid. It was very. I put in a lot more work than I was paid for. But when I showed that to the radio station, it went from a guy that came in with a video camera to suddenly everybody was impressed. They couldn't believe at the quality that I put out for that. And it wasn't so much I did it because they wanted to give me money. It was a chance for me to exercise my skills. The thing was, they were impressed. The manager of the radio station actually offered me free airtime to advertise for my production company in exchange for additional jobs. And in the meantime, I got my job at Celebration Church, so I haven't really had time to work on that. I still do freelance stuff, but the key was that was a big job that kind of gave me a starting point. I did it for cheap, but I did amazing quality. So the big thing to me is always surpass expectations. I have lots of ideas for projects. I start working on them, and if I don't like how they're turning out, I just leave them be. I've got hundreds of ideas that never go anywhere. Because if I can't make it look better than I want it to be, if I can't surpass expectations, then I don't really feel like doing it, because I don't want to just meet expectations. Meeting expectations is what everybody does. I want to surpass expectations so that I become the guy that they pay attention to. And going back to Mark Unger, we had a production meeting for the entire staff at Celebration Church in Lafayette Way, and we all sat down, and he actually used me as a reference, talking about how as the company gets larger, it's harder for people to come right to the head staff, to the CEO or to the head people, and just give them an idea for something and then have them go with it. A lot of times you're going to have to take time to put together a proposal, and that's kind of what I did with my concept video for the Manly Man intro. I put together kind of a proposal and I gave it to them, and regularly he admitted he probably wouldn't have been interested if I just came up to him and said, hey, what do you think of this? But when I showed him the video, then he got really excited. So you may have to go through some work. You may have to come up with a proposal for a company. If you say, I can do this, but they're not willing to give you a chance, show them how you can still do it with your current gear. It's not a matter of having the best gear out there. It's doing the best with the gear that you have. You got to be creative, though. You can't be just an average guy out there. There's a ton of people in video production, so you have to show how you are better than somebody else or more creative. You don't have to know where your limits are too. Like, I understand that I'm not the best writer out there. I come up with a lot of creative ideas. Example, the Manly Man Conference intro concept video that I did, the script was horrible. But after I did the proposal, I did the main video, then I had somebody else work on the script with me. So I know I'm not a very good writer, but I am a decent cinematographer. I do good visual effects, good motion graphics. I'm a decent editor. So all those things are what I'm good at. And so I try to focus on those and then not focus so hard on the other things so that I become better at what I'm good at. So know what your limits are and focus on them. Do what you're good at. Don't do what you're not good at. Well, I hope that was helpful, Dave. I wish you the best and hope you can find a great job out there. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to email me, my email address is nwtv@nextwavegraphics.net. As I said before, I'm not able to check that as much as I'd like to, so if I don't get back to you, please don't be offended. But I try and answer all the emails that I can, especially ones that I know the answers to. So thanks for watching and have a great day.